Hello, guys. It's Scout Runner Report. I'm going to give you top 10 biggest news stories of the NFL offseason. But before I dive into that, I'd like to say that I excluded Cowboys running back Ezekiel Elliott suspension from the top 10 list since it's still going on. You know, he was suspended, then his suspension was upheld. So he's out of the top 10 for now. I'm sorry if, anyone feels like he should be. I personally don't think he should because he's playing as of now. So unless if it changes. Colin Kaepernick still hasn't signed with a team yet. For a quarterback who literally started in a Super Bowl a few seasons ago, it's hard to believe that they're out of a job. But the reason is because last season he decided to sit during the national anthem. His reason for this was that he didn't want to stand up for a country that oppresses people of color. And this ended up bringing a lot of negative attention to the NFL. It also caused a lot of controversy because people all over the country started to sit down during the national anthem. This also added fuel to the fire in the Black Lives Matters campaign. So even though Colin Kaepernick threw for 16 touchdowns and only 4 interceptions, there was a survey taken and he was the most disliked player in the NFL. And general managers don't want to bring a guy who's going to bring a lot of attention to their team and also a lot of controversy. So he still remains unsigned. Touchdown celebrations are back. In the beginning of the 2016 season, the NFL commissioner banned touchdown celebrations. His reason behind it was that he felt like players were over-celebrating to taunt their opponents and they were conducting themselves in a very unsportsmanlike way. After a whole season of hearing players upset over the rule change and hearing what everyone around the NFL had to say, the NFL commissioner brought back touchdown dances, but in certain limitations. 3 pumps draws a flag. So it's a win-win situation for both sides because players can still celebrate and have fun when they score a touchdown, but they have to stay within the limit to not be rude to their opponents. Roger Goodell is close to receiving a contract extension through 2024. Roger Goodell is the NFL commissioner and he assumed that position in 2006. His contract is set to expire in 2019, but recent reports surfaced saying that he's going to get a contract extension, and this would make him the NFL commissioner for 7 more years. This is a big deal because even though some people may like him and some people may not, he's going to be the face of the NFL for 7 more years. Jay Cutler joins the Dolphins. Earlier in the offseason, Jay Cutler decided to retire and he became a commentator for Fox Sports. But the Dolphins starting quarterback, Ryan Tannehill, tore his ACL in early August. The Dolphins ended up contacting Jay Cutler and convinced him to come out of retirement, and he's now the starting quarterback of the Dolphins. This is a significant move because Jay Cutler's a mediocre quarterback at best, and the Dolphins were a playoff team last year. And the question of the offseason is, are they going to regress? Or will they get better with him? Or will they stay the same? A lot of people don't have great things to say about Ryan Tannehill, but people say worse things about Jay Cutler. So I personally think that the Dolphins aren't going to be a playoff team and they are going to regress. Michael Bennett held at gunpoint by the police. Most of you may know Michael Bennett as a defensive Pro Bowl tackle from the Seattle Seahawks. During the offseason, he was in Vegas after the Conor McGregor-Floyd Mayweather fight, and he heard what he thought were gunshots, so he ran. He felt that he was singled out by the police because they stopped him from running, put him on the ground, and put a gun to his head. He feared for his life, and he thought that he would never see his children again. This is a very controversial topic because it brings up police brutality and discrimination against colored people, similar to what the Colin Kaepernick situation brings as well. Tony Romo retires from the NFL. Last preseason, Tony Romo suffered a broken bone in his back, and he was replaced by rookie quarterback Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott ended up exceeding expectations, and he did so well that when Tony Romo recovered, he didn't get his starting quarterback job back. And during the season, a lot of people were asking, where's Tony Romo going to play next season? The answer to that is nowhere. Even though trading rumors from teams such as the Texans to signing with teams like the Jets, all these teams were interested in Romo, but he ended up just taking a job as a sports commentator in CBS. So after 4 Pro Bowls and 13 seasons with the Dallas Cowboys, he decides to hang up the cleats and call it a career. Marshawn Lynch joins the Raiders. At the end of the 2015 season, Marshawn Lynch decided to hang up the cleats. At the end of the 2016 season, there was a lot of rumors going around saying that he would play for the Oakland Raiders, his hometown team. As the offseason progressed, people started, seeing that this could actually be a reality, and this wasn't all just rumors. The Oakland Raiders made a move. They gave the Seattle Seahawks a 5th-round pick in exchange for Marshawn Lynch and a 6th-round pick. So, to make it easier, the Oakland Raiders gave the Seattle Seahawks a 5th-round pick, and they received a 6th-round pick in return with Marshawn Lynch. So, this is a really, really important move, in my opinion, because Marshawn Lynch has been one of the best running backs for multiple seasons. We all know he's the game changer, and he's joining a 12-4 Oakland Raider team that already made the playoffs. They already have a really strong offense, and he adds a whole nother dimension, and I think it'll be really fun seeing him, as the season progresses and hopefully into the playoffs as well. The Chargers move from San Diego to Los Angeles. In recent years, the idea of NFL teams moving have surfaced, and the first team to do this was the St. Louis Rams. They moved to LA. And now the Chargers are following in their footsteps from San Diego to LA. Another team that will move in the near future is the Oakland Raiders. They're going to move to Las Vegas. This is a really crucial subject because this angers a lot of fans whose teams are moving because they feel betrayed. They don't want their NFL team to go somewhere else. I think that this is a really important subject because we're starting to see a trend, and I don't think it's going to slow down anytime soon. I think other teams in the future will also relocate. If they see that the Chargers and the Rams and the Raiders all have success in their new homes, they might say, you know what, I'm thinking about moving my team from A to B. So I think this is something that you should really keep an eye on in the next few years. NFL free agency is something that a lot of big football fans look forward to, such as myself. There were some pretty significant moves. So the Minnesota Vikings cut their best running back of all time, Adrian Peterson, and he signed with the New Orleans Saints. It's going to feel really weird to see AP in a Saints uniform. The next one that I wanted to discuss was Deshaun Jackson signed with the Bucs. I think this is a really great move because this gives the Bucs a very, very steady number 2 receiver. They have Mike Evans, and now they have Deshaun Jackson, and they both complement each other pretty well because one is a big number 1 receiver, and the other one is a speedster. Deshaun Jackson can run through anyone. This is going to give Jameis Winston a lot of great targets. One of my favorite acquisitions of the NFL offseason was former New Orleans Saints Brandon Cooks getting traded from the Saints to the Patriots in exchange for a 1st and a 3rd round in the 2017 NFL draft. I think this is a really big move because this kid lit it up last season with Drew Brees, and he's going from one really good quarterback to another elite quarterback. So he's going to have a really big season with the Patriots. He's going to help them out. They're going to have a clear-cut number one receiver on top of all the other weapons they have. I think he's going to fit really, really good in the scheme. And like I said, I really, really like this move. The next person I wanted to talk about is Brandon Marshall going to the Giants. Brandon Marshall asked the New York Jets to release him, and then he ended up signing with the Giants. I think this is another big move because we've seen, even though Marshall is getting older, he's never really lost a step except for last season. He's always been a pretty consistent receiver, and he's going to be a good complement to Odell Beckham and Sterling Shepard. Eli Manning is going to have a lot of good weapons to throw to. The next person I wanted to talk about is Sammy Watkins. He got traded from the Buffalo Bills to the Rams. This is a really big move because for many years we've been saying the Rams don't really have a good receiving core. That's really been one of their big weaknesses. Now they get a guy who's injury prone, but when healthy, he does produce, and he does show that he's a number one wide receiver. And the last guy I wanted to talk about, this is recent news. This is something that just happened. New York Jets defensive player Sheldon Richardson got traded from the Jets to the Seahawks. This is a really big move because the Seattle Seahawks are already a contending playoff team every season. They add a former Pro Bowl player who may have a little bit of trouble, but he could really help a lot of defenses out there, and I think that he's going to get back into form. So those are the big NFL free agency / offseason moves. There's a few more, but I think those are the main ones for now. The NFL draft. Every big football fan knows that the NFL draft is talked about all season long. It first starts with a few names here and there as the season starts, and as the season progresses, you'll start to hear more and more names, mainly quarterbacks. Into the offseason, the NFL draft starts to get really busy. All these analysis start throwing all these names out there. Everyone knows that the NFL draft is the best way to make your team a good team for many, many years to come. A lot of teams emphasize the draft for success. So I'm going to be covering the draft, but I'm not going to tell you every single player. I'm just going to tell you main players, players that stood out, and quarterbacks. So when the NFL season starts, you see these rookies on your team that you like or that you're watching, and you're not surprised. You know their name, you know a little about them. So at number 1, the Cleveland Browns drafted Myles Garrett. Myles Garrett is supposedly a generational defensive end, once in a generation kind of player. The Cleveland Browns pick him with number 1. Number 2, the Chicago Bears draft quarterback Mitch Trubisky. This was, a big, big deal because they were at number 3 and they gave up so much to just go up one spot and pick the guy. I guess they thought the San Francisco 49ers were going to pounce at the chance of getting him or something. They had to give the 49ers a 3rd-round pick and a 4th-round pick in the 2017 draft. Also their 1st-round pick in 2017 and a 3rd-round pick in 2018 just to move up one spot. At number 4, the Jacksonville Jaguars drafted running back Leonard Fournette. I really, really like this pick a lot. A lot of people are raving about this guy. They're saying, he's like one of the best running backs to come out in recent years. Some people said since Adrian Peterson, which is a really, really big deal because, the past few years we've had a few good running backs get drafted, and to be compared that high that early, it's a really big deal. At number 6, we have the Jets drafting safety Jamal Adams. Jamal Adams was a guy who a lot of people said was the safest player to draft. He was the most NFL ready. A lot of people gave him the highest grade, as much as Myles Garrett. So this was a really big pick for the Jets. And that, number 10, the Chiefs traded with the Bills to draft quarterback Patrick Mahomes. I love Patrick Mahomes. I think he's going to be a great quarterback. The Kansas City Chiefs, have had Alex Smith for so many years, but I guess they're trying to change things up. They're tired of, Alex Smith just being a mediocre quarterback at best or whatever the case is. They gave their first round pick to the Bills, and I think in 2018 they're giving another first round pick as well, and I think a second somewhere along the way. I'm not too sure about that. Don't quote me on that, but the Bills did get something in return for that. And then at number 12, we have the Houston Texans trading up for quarterback Deshaun Watson. Now, this is a really big deal because we all know that the Texans have made the playoffs in recent years, but they've always had quarterback issues. They can never find their number one guy. They traded with the Cleveland Browns because the Cleveland Browns also owned the 12th pick and the first pick, so they gave away the 12th pick in return for Houston's first pick next season and their first pick this season. So this is a big deal. I'm really covering quarterbacks, and I think I was really surprised watching the draft myself and seeing, all these teams trade up for these guys because all the NFL analysis and all these, sports guys were all saying, this quarterback class is weaker than other classes. A lot of these guys aren't ready to start. So seeing these teams trade up for these guys and give up, compensation in return, I think was a big deal because, like I said earlier, most of these guys aren't NFL ready. So there you have it. There is my top 10. Would you guys have rated something a little higher? Would you guys have rated something a little lower? Did I forget to mention something that you would have mentioned in the top 10? Let me know. Like, comment, subscribe. Tell your friends about this video. Scout Runner Report. I'm new to YouTube. I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to be posting top 10 videos every single Wednesday, so stay tuned. My next video is going to be about Triple G and Canelo preview. I'm going to be giving my prediction. I'm going to be breaking down the fighter's strengths and the fight itself. And then I'm going to make another video after the fight, reviewing the fight, seeing if my prediction was correct. My next NFL video is going to be AFC and NFC teams prediction. I know we're 1 week into the NFL season, but it's never too late to give your prediction. I'm going to put my Facebook in the description. Like the page so we can get a huge discussion and we can get the community together. I'm going to be posting random discussion topics on the Facebook. Thank you so much for watching this video. God bless you all and have a great day.